As I said, fair amount around today. Joining me now to go through it all, Sky News Political Editor Andrew Clennell, coming to us, of course, from Canberra. This Thorpe defection yesterday, I think it's a boon for the Greens, if I'm honest. I mean, wouldn't you love to get Lydia Thorpe out of your party room? I think it's a headache for the Prime Minister, though. It's certainly on crossbench negotiations. But I was talking to some Labor people yesterday, Andrew, and that line in her remarks in the Senate courtyard about infiltrating, keep up the infiltrating, she says, they see that as this constant move by the socialist type into the Greens, in part into the hard left of the Labor Party. But this is a discordant view, particularly, we'll get to it in a moment, on the issue of sovereignty. How is it playing out in Canberra, this move by Thorpe?
Well, I just think within one day we've seen how the Senate's more difficult when it comes to what Olivia just reported on the referendum machinery bill. Suddenly the government will, it appears at least, will have to acquiesce to the coalition demands. The game's changed, Peter, just like that. And it's the first Greens defection. We've had Greens in the Senate since 1996, and this is the first time it's ever happened. So that's pretty extraordinary, I think, in itself, if you look at the history of minor parties in this place. But very interesting from her, isn't it? If she's so against the Greens, she was elected as a Green, why doesn't she quit the Parliament? It's not like a House of Representatives by-election situation and give up the casual vacancy.
You're expecting a senator to have a bit of honour. She's not the first one. I go back to the Mel Colston days. I mean, these senators, they come in under someone else's banner. Jackie Lambie is another perfect example. They get elected using the machinery of a minor party 9 times out of 10 and a brand, and then they often jump ship and create their own. Just on the point I made about sovereignty in my editorial, what I think she has blown apart is that there is this softly approach from the Prime Minister, you know, the benign face of the voice, and a few outbreaks like we saw with Pat Dodson, you know, let's put the voice into the National Cabinet, for example. Lukewarm response from Penny Wong, but no one's ruling it out. And when pushed on the issue of sovereignty, if you look at the Prime Minister's recent remarks on places like Q&A, he hasn't been very strong on saying that he considers sovereignty a settled issue. It's obviously Uluru Statement from the heart, core business, and this is where I think the voice debate is going to move. Voice fine, but what is it the Trojan horse for? And I think that's the danger for the PM.
Yes, well, on election night he said, I support the Uluru Statement from the heart in full. That's what he said as soon as he got up on the podium. So that means he supports the Truth-Telling Commission and the treaty. And yet the voice comes first because, as you're kind of pointing out, it's easier to sell. I think he has committed to it just being an advisory body, and I actually believe that's what it would be. But it's going to cause, if it comes into effect, enormous political difficulties for governments of all persuasions, because the story for any journalist will be government goes against the voice advice, and there'll be regular stories to that extent, I think. So it's a pretty interesting concept from that perspective. I don't think Linda Burney and Pat Dodson make any secret of the fact that they think after this is a treaty and that Truth-Telling Commission. And I also think Matt Thistlethwaite, who's the Assistant Minister on the Republic, thinks if this gets up, next term comes the Republic referendum.